We've just taken a momentous and historic decision over our membership of the European Union, and I think that we need to get a sense of optimism and confidence and hope. I think that genuinely we've had a new dawn here in the United Kingdom, and in the era of globalization I think Britain's particularly well placed to take advantage of that. And all I've been hearing about are the problems that we might face, but not the opportunities that we might have. And I think that we need to have a confidence in our own country and our ability to shape the world around us, and I hope that I can bring some of that confidence and hope and optimism to that debate.
I don't know how much you could hear of the video we were playing earlier from the Conservative Club in Altrincham, but we were asking people what they wanted from a leader, and one of the things they said was honesty. They want to know the candidate's plans. But I'm going to pick up on honesty because you resigned as Defence Secretary in 2011 after you broke the ministerial code, criticised for the relationship you had with your friend Adam Werrity, and you said you'd mistakenly allowed personal and professional responsibilities to be blurred. Now, what we're hearing, and quite reasonably I would say, is that people want an honest, straightforward leader with good judgment. Has your judgment significantly improved now so that you can take this country forward?
Well, first of all, I hope we're talking about the future, not the past, but on that, I think we all have to say where you make a mistake, you make an apology, you make amends, as I did when I resigned, and you try to learn from the past. And I think that what people are talking about when they're looking for honesty is also people who are willing to look at themselves and say, you know, none of us in politics are perfect just like everybody else, but can we learn from our mistakes and what do we need to take forward? I think that view on honesty was very important, because our politicians now going to say, as we move ahead of the referendum era, are we willing to accept the judgment of the public and the instruction of the public, or are we trying to backslide on it? And I think one of the essential tests of politicians in this is, are you willing to accept what you were told to do by the voters, or are you going to try to second guess them? Because I think this is going to be an essential element about trust in politics going forward. And I've heard rather too many people saying, well, that's maybe not what the public meant. Maybe they meant they would like a slightly different relationship with the European Union. There can be no equivocation. We are leaving the European Union. We cannot accept the concept of free movement of people, because voters would find that utterly unacceptable. And I think that's going to be one of the core tests of the candidates in this election. There
is an argument, isn't there, from European leaders that we cannot remain, the UK cannot remain part of the single market if we don't honour the free movement of people. Is there any way around this, in your mind?
You don't have to be in the single market to sell into the single market. Countries like the United States, for example, sell huge amounts of goods and services into the single market without being part of it. And in fact, even inside the European Union itself, countries like Romania and Bulgaria were actually members of the single market, but didn't have free movement for a number of years. So it's not something that's necessary, it's a political choice. And I think that we need to confront the bureaucrats in Brussels and say, look, for real countries who actually have to sell real things to the United Kingdom, if you want to have Britain as an open market, and most European countries sell very much more to us than we sell to them, if they want to have that advantage, they need to come to a free trade agreement with the United Kingdom. We have very strong cards to play in this. I've never believed the single market was the be-all and end-all. Our trade into that single market has been declining in recent years. Time for this country to raise its sights, understand there are other markets out there. There's a big growing world outside the European Union which is sclerotic because of the euro, and let's have the confidence and optimism to grasp those opportunities for our country. We have seen a new beginning for us. We've escaped from a condemned political building. It's time for us now to make the best of our freedom.
If you were elected as the Conservative Party leader, when would you call a general election?
I do think we need to have a general election before 2020. I do think we need to have a second referendum. I think we need to get on with governing the country. We set out our platform in our manifesto last year, and we've got a country to govern. We don't need any more interruptions, and I don't think we need any unnecessary elections, not least at a time when the Labour Party is actually falling apart.
If you weren't elected as Conservative leader and you were asked to back one of the other candidates, who would you back? Would it have to be a Leave, someone who campaigned for the Leave camp?
Well, for me, it's about the agenda that candidates put forward. And, you know, during the referendum, I said that we should behave with courtesy and civility. I think the same in this one. I respect all the other candidates. I'm a good friend of Stephen Crabbe's. I regularly go out for lunch with Theresa May. I campaigned with Boris in the Leave campaign. I respect all of them. And my aim at the moment, as you'll not be surprised to hear, is not to go out at all.